From blowing up mummies in underground pyramids to battling dragons in lost temples, Lara Croft has done it all. No amount of traps or enemies have yet to stop this Tomb Raider from reaching her goal. But Lara wasn't always a quick-witted sharpshooting trailblazer. From a quiet bookworm to an expert survivalist, let's explore the rise of a legendary adventurer as she faces overwhelming odds. Lara Croft faced countless losses in her life, starting with her mother, Lady Amelia, who disappeared in a plane crash. Lara was only a toddler. After losing Amelia, Lara's father, Lord Richard, buried himself in his work, neglecting his fatherly duties. Lord Richard became obsessed with discovering the key to immortality. With the help of his close friend, Conrad Roth, Lord Richard pulled Lady Amelia's body from the wreckage and hid her in a tomb underneath Croft Manor. He had hoped one day he could resurrect his dead wife, but told Lara nothing of his plan. Lara grows up feeling neglected and out of place. She spends most of her time reading books that inspire her fascination with adventure. Anytime Lord Richard plans an expedition, Lara pleads with him to take her. And on one of these voyages, Lara discovers a small blue trinket. And as usual, her father has no time for her, so she tells Roth, who uses his shoelace to make a necklace out of Lara's trinket. At age 11, Lara confronts Lord Richard about his workaholic habit, saying he needs to act like a father. Lord Richard's only explanation is that she'll understand one day, and Lara storms out of his office. Later that night, Lara hears gunfire and finds her father with a bullet through his head, his death labeled a suicide. Now an orphan, Lara falls into the care of Roth, and they form a father-daughter bond. But work forces Roth away most of the time, and the isolation turns Lara into an introvert. In college, Lara befriends Sam Nishimura, who helps her open up. After graduation, Lara embarks on a journey that forever changes the course of her life. The Lost Kingdom of Yamatai. The famous archaeologist and anthropologist Dr. James Whitman hires Roth to help him find the Lost Kingdom of Yamatai, once ruled by the Sun Queen Himiko. Roth offers Lara the opportunity to help with the expedition, and she recruits her friend Sam, who is a descendant of the Sun Queen. Lara's instincts tell her Yamatai is in the Dragon's Triangle, a group of islands east of Japan. Having complete faith in Lara, Roth steers their ship in that direction. As they near the Dragon's Triangle, a massive storm overtakes their ship, stranding them on the island. Lara finds herself separated from her party and gets captured by a native who hangs her upside down in a cave used for human sacrifice. Absolutely terrified, but determined to live, Lara frees herself and escapes into the wilderness. Lara finds a bow in an abandoned campsite with a working radio. She's able to contact Roth, who encourages her to make her way to his rendezvous point. Along the way, Lara finds Sam, who's with a stranger named Matthias, claiming to be a shipwreck victim too. Unfortunately, Lara passes out from exhaustion and wakes up to find herself alone. She goes to look for Sam, but gets caught in a bear trap and has to fend off a pack of wolves. Help arrives as other members of her crew come to her rescue. The group splits up, and Dr. Whitman joins Lara to find Roth, while the rest of their team search for Sam. Dr. Whitman and Lara discover they successfully made it to Yamatai, but the survivors find themselves on the run from a cult group that lives on the island called the Solari. The Solari plan to sacrifice Sam to resurrect their Sun Queen. Matthias turns out to be their leader, and Dr. Whitman betrays his crew to help Matthias for his own personal gain. Between sending out an SOS, trying to salvage a boat and leave the island, repeatedly rescuing her teammates, all while trying to survive a harsh environment and a violent cult, Lara has her hands full. Somehow, she's able to take out Matthias, destroy Himiko's remains, and rescue 3 of her team members, including Sam. Sadly, she loses her mentor, Roth, who gave his life to save hers. After surviving Yamatai, Lara struggles to return to the life she once knew. A year later, Lara's battling PTSD and survivor's guilt, having constant nightmares and flashbacks. To make matters worse, the media ridicules Lara for her accounts of Yamatai, labeling her a lunatic. like her father. Her uncle forces her to seek therapy or he'll withhold ownership of the Croft manor. Lara's father left no will and her mother's death was never verified, so her uncle was left in charge of the estate. After her supernatural experience in Yamatai, Lara believes her father was onto something. Wanting to restore the Croft family name, she plans to finish the quest he started. Lord Richard pursued an ancient artifact called the Divine Source, said to grant immortality. He believed the artifact lied in the tomb of a religious icon in Syria called the Prophet of Constantinople. In a recorded message, Lord Richard warns that faction known as Trinity was also after the Divine Source. In Syria, Lara finds the Prophet's tomb empty, but discovers a familiar cross-shaped symbol in the ruin. After escaping Trinity, she returns to London and learns the cross-shaped insignia is linked to the lost city of Kitez in Siberia. Lara hopes to find the Divine Source and use it to cure humanity of sickness and death. She calls her friend Jonah, one of her fellow survivors from Yamatai, to help her find it. They travel to Siberia, where Lara gets captured by Trinity. She learns that a man named Konstantin is leading the search for the Divine Source. While held prisoner, Lara finds out that her late father's girlfriend, Anna, is also a Trinity agent and is Konstantin's sister, who used Lord Richard to find the artifact. Anna has a terminal illness and plans to use the Divine Source to save herself. Lara gets thrown in a cell and meets a native named Jacob. Jacob belongs to the tribe known as the Remnant, who descended from the Prophet's ancient followers. Having been betrayed many times in the past, Lara's hesitant to trust Jacob, but he proves himself to Lara by saving her life, and they work together to escape the prison. Jacob tries to talk Lara out of searching for the Divine Source, asking her to help his people fight off Trinity instead. Lara agrees to help, but refuses to give up her mission, believing she must find the artifact for her father's sake. While fighting Trinity, Jonah gets captured and Konstantin mortally wounds him before Lara can save him. Jacob miraculously heals Jonah, revealing himself to be the Prophet. They go after Trinity and Lara ends up in a fight against Konstantin. She overpowers him and he reveals that Lord Richard's death was not a suicide, but a hit by Trinity. Before Lara can prevent Trinity from obtaining the Divine Source, Anna has already found it. She tries to use it, but the power overwhelms her. Lara, realizing the reward isn't worth the risk, destroys the artifact so it won't fall into the wrong hands. Sadly, the destruction of the Divine Source leads to Jacob's death, but he dies peacefully. Having stopped Trinity, Lara returns home to reclaim Croft Manor. She searches the mansion expecting to find her father's will. Instead, she discovers Lord Richard's secret plan to resurrect her mother. After reading a note left by Lady Amelia, Lara verifies her grave and gains legal ownership of the Croft estate. With issues at home wrapped up, Lara redirects her attention back to Trinity, knowing their mission for world domination wasn't over. The Mayan apocalypse. 2 months later, Lara and Jonah followed a Trinity group to Cozumel, Mexico, led by Pedro Dominguez, the head of Trinity's High Council. In Cozumel, Lara finds a mysterious artifact called the Dagger of the Choctaw. Murals warn of an apocalyptic event that will occur if someone disturbs it. Lara fears Trinity will find the artifact, so she pulls the dagger from its resting place, triggering a series of natural disasters known as the cleansing ritual. Dominguez finds Lara and takes the dagger, leaving Lara and Jonah to die in an approaching tsunami. Lara and Jonah survive, but the tsunami wipes out Cozumel. Lara feels responsible for all the destruction and vows to fix her mistake. They pursue Dominguez into the Amazon, where they come across a lost Inca city called Paititi. They learn that there's a way to stop the apocalypse by using the dagger to stab an artifact called the Silver Box of Ixchel, located inside Paititi. Trying to find an entrance into the lost city, Lara finds a young boy named Itzli, held captive by Trinity. The boy's mother, Honoratu, Queen of Paititi, witnesses Lara rescuing her son and brings her into the lost city. Honoratu tells Lara Dominguez is her brother-in-law son-in-law named Amaru. As a child, he was captured and brainwashed by the cult of Kukulkan, a proxy of Trinity. Amaru plans to use a dagger to perform a ritual he believes will protect Paititi from the rest of the world. However, he doesn't understand the ritual. Anuratu agrees to help Lara track down the silver box, but Lara realizes it's no longer in Paititi. Realizing Trinity already has it, they try to reclaim the artifact, but Unuratu gets killed by Amaru's right-hand man, Rourke. Before she dies, Unuratu warns Lara to resist the temptations of the silver box. Lara discovers the silver box is in a church inside the tomb of a missionary named Andres Lopez, who stole it during the Spanish conquest. On the way to the tomb, Lara and Jonah get separated by an attack from a Trinity gunship. Lara emerges near an oil refinery and Rourke tells her Jonah's dead. Enraged by the loss of her best friend, Lara goes on a killing spree, brutally murdering every Trinity member she finds. An explosion knocks her unconscious, and she wakes in shock over the carnage she created. Jonah appears out of the rubble, and Lara breaks down, believing she's doing more harm than good. But Jonah's able to bring her back to her senses. Lara finds Lopez's tomb and gets the silver box, but Amaru forces her to hand it over. He tells Lara he's the one who had her father executed. Returning to Paititi, Lara and Jonah help Itzel orchestrate an attack on the underground temple where Amaru plans to perform his ritual. Alone, Lara makes her way inside the temple and speaks to the goddess Crimson Fire, the leader of the Yaaxil, protectors of the silver box of Ixchel. Lara asks her to help them stop Trinity, and Crimson Fire agrees, taking out Rourke and the Trinity Council. Lara reaches the summit and faces Amaru, who already claimed the power of Kukulkan. After an intense battle, Lara defeats Amaru, and he willingly transfers the power of Kukulkan to Lara, asking her to protect Paititi. After receiving the power, Lara has a vision of her parents. Realizing this is the temptation of the silver box, Lara makes peace with the loss of her parents and walks out of the vision. Back in reality, Lara allows Crimson Fire to complete the ritual to stop the apocalypse. After saving the world once again, Lara helps Itzel rebuild Paititi before heading back to London. Back home, she redecorates her father's office, making it her own. She writes Jonah explaining that she's found her purpose in life, to protect the world from the mysteries best left undiscovered. This is the rise of the infamous Lara Croft, a woman who overcame the loss of her parents, witnessed the death of many people she knew and loved, and came face to face with death on countless occasions. Despite it all, Lara continues to rise above every obstacle life throws at her, and Lara finds her life's calling, becoming a strong, unrelenting, quick-witted, tomb-raiding heroine. Lara's origin story tells us that no matter how impossible life can get, we have to keep pushing through for ourselves and those we love.